Hey everybody, this is Eric Johnson. We have a pretty exciting video today. I think some people are going to probably even be angered by it, but I think a lot of people are going to appreciate it. What I've done in this video is I have married. I've always liked using marry as a verb. I don't know why. It's kind of cool. Connect, marry. I want to marry the clues in the poem to a map of 9 Mile Hole. And I think it's a pretty good, I think it's well thought out on my part. I think the clues match pretty well. And if you don't agree, that's fine, because I know how divided this community is still. Even though we pretty much should know it's at 9 Mile Hole, everything points to that being the case. Let's think about it. 9 Mile Hole is in Yellowstone Park, which is in Wyoming. Okay? So Jack and Fenn both said it's in Wyoming. We know that Jack sent numerous emails to Fenn saying he was searching 9 Mile Hole. We know that Fenn was reading them. In one case, he wrote back and said, "Do not dig in the park," because Jack said, if I find it and it's a little bit can I dig it? And Fenn wrote back and said, "Absolutely not," or some words to that effect. So there was a communication going on between Jack and Fenn, and Jack was pretty much, that was it for him, 9 Mile Hole. And we also know that when they chose someone to discuss the location of the treasure, they chose the chief ranger or head ranger of Yellowstone, a woman named Sarah Davis, who was the head ranger at the time. So if you still don't think it's 9 Mile Hole with all those kind of obvious hints, I don't know what to tell you. Keep thinking it's in Glacier. You know, why would it be in Glacier? Why would they go to the head ranger of Yellowstone if it was at Glacier? Why wouldn't they go to the ranger at Glacier? You know, and people have all these reasons, but I think a lot of people, I'm going to say something on a psychological level. I think for some people, the chase is not real. What do you mean, Eric? Of course it's real. Yeah, I mean, it's real, but I think for some people it's become a fantasy in their mind. Like it's a quest that they can't quit. So when there's pretty substantial evidence that Jack found the treasure or was led to the treasure, I'm not done with that concept. But at any rate, I fully believe it was a 9 Mile Hole. And that's in Yellowstone Park, and that is in the state of Wyoming. So therefore, I think all the clues pretty much say, yeah, Jack retrieved the chest in Yellowstone at 9 Mile Hole. Why is there, I was talking to Steve Klein. Steve said, how do we know that series of emails between, especially from Jack, was not to mislead us? Well, maybe, but I mean, so he was thinking ahead, like at some point these emails are going to come out. He's somehow thinking ahead to a court case where they come out and they're brought into evidence, and he's talking about 9 Mile Hole, not because he's actually emailing them to Fenn, and it's all some sort of contrived thing to throw us off in the future because he's not really going to 9 Mile Hole, but he's still sending all these emails to Fenn saying he's looking at 9 Mile Hole. He's trying to I think you can as someone once said, I try not to overthink myself. I think that's kind of overthinking it. But speaking of Steve Klein, before I go any further, before we get to the map and the poem and the clues, which I know some people are excited about because I find it exciting. When I looked at it, I finally said, let's just look at it because I was there, as you know, I had the thing where I thought Fenn's Rock was the blaze. I don't believe that anymore, but I think Fenn's Rock is definitely a clue. And when I looked at it, I said, God, this really coordinates with the poem pretty easily when you look at it in a certain way, or look at it in the right way. As if it was 9 Mile Hole, then you kind of see it, which we'll get to that. But before we go any further, just a couple of notes about ongoing issues. And these are both from Steve. Steve wrote me about these. So Steve wrote, and I'll put this up for everyone to see. Steve wrote on well, in late June, he wrote to the Heritage, auction house, and he said, when is the Forrest Fenn treasure going up for auction? And they wrote back on June 28th to Steve, and they said, hello, thank you for your email. I do not see that we are auctioning this item. We apologize for the inconvenience. Kind regards, Jasmine McCall, Client Services. Again, you can come up with all sorts of conspiratorial reasons why they're saying it's not there when it is there. I'm the guy who came up with, I thought, the clever saying of today's conspiracy theories are tomorrow's history, which in a lot of cases I believe is true. But I don't, again, I try not to overthink the obvious. So if Heritage is saying, if Heritage is saying that it's not there, I just think it's not there. I don't think it's part of some big super plan on their part. So why are some people like Barbarese saying that it's at Heritage? I don't know. But Heritage told Steve Klein it's not. And then on a second note, the intrepid investigator Steve Klein wrote another email, and I'm going to cover up what magazine he said he was writing for. But he said he wrote Yellowstone. And he said, good afternoon, my name is Steve Klein. I'm a writer for Blank Magazine. I'm writing a story on the Forrest Fenn treasure that was supposedly found at 9 Mile Hole by a man named Jack Stoof, and was wondering if you would like to comment now that the court case is over. Thanks to your time and best regards. Steve's like a dog with a bone on things, man. And he's just going to I know he's going to keep pursuing this issue, especially when people online and in the Chase community keep saying things like, it's at Heritage, or, everything's over with. There's no more legal issues. They wrote back to Steve and said, Linda, Strategic Communications, Office of the Superintendent, wrote back and said, thanks for your interest. The court case is still under litigation, and we are unable to comment. So there's still something going on with Yellowstone, and that's Yellowstone, who is responding, not some other park, and they are responding that there is still litigation going on, we would assume, with the Fenn household. Let's remember, so thanks, Steve, for your work. Steve's an investigator. I've told him more than once he should be a private investigator, but he chooses to have his own company and do his own thing now, so best of luck to him. But he is an intrepid investigator. This thing with Yellowstone, it's to me very obvious, because of course that was where Forrest Fenn spent his years, and he called it magical, and he just loved Yellowstone. So I'm not going to even overdo the whole thing of whether it's Yellowstone. That if people want to not believe that, fine. But we'll move on to the clues in the map, and we'll take it from there. And I think you're going to see that it's pretty cool. I like it a lot, what I did. It took a little bit of work. That's cool. I watch YouTubers, especially a lot of YouTubers, and they have these big channels and stuff. And you know what they do? They work. There's two things I have found out. As I look ahead with this channel, thinking ahead to, I never want to quit doing this because I enjoy doing it. But, when I move out to north of Charleston on the coast, I'm going to be, near the coast, I'm going to be treasure hunting in some areas for Spanish or treasure that's been from wrecks along that coast, which is just a huge amount of wrecks. And the channel, I want to keep it going. It's going to be somewhat metal detecting, but I also want to kind of sometimes say what I feel. And I know that sometimes people want to kind of drive by my house and shoot at me. But anyway, and some other people are like, yeah, say it, tell it. So I'm going to continue doing that. But, I looked into why, your channel, my channel's consistently up almost to 800 people, which for me is a big deal, considering I'm so terrible at maintaining it, maintaining the views and stuff and putting out regular stuff. I'm not going to belabor this too much, but I'm really starting to take into mind two things that people do really well with their channels is because I think of some of the stuff I'm going to come up with, like some of the stuff in the past with the Forrest Fenn community is interesting stuff. Oh, here comes Belly. Heard her just come in. So, two things: work and put out product regularly. I got to work on that, folks. Okay, so we're going to do the map, and we're going to marry it to the poem, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Hi everybody, it's Eric Johnson. So today we're going to do something that is should be pretty cool, and we're going to start now. Yeah. Okay, so first things first. Someone wrote me an email. And in the email, they asked me, did you used to have long hair? Now, $5 is riding on this. So typical me, this is kind of off the scope. This is not the subject today. But since he did write me and I just got the email, I thought I'd throw it in here because he asked me to let him know with my next video. And he didn't know that my next video is right now. So I'm going to put it in here. First of all, I'm going to show you the email. So he wrote, Eric, a fellow ex-searcher, and I met for coffee this morning, and somehow we were on the subject of one of your videos when my friend out of the blue said, I'll bet you Johnson was a long hair in his youth. I don't know why, but I think he might be right. I bet him $5 anyway. It would be worth losing if you were to place a photo of your former long hair self on your next video background. He's referring to, I think, when I sit at my desk in my studio and have pictures in the background. So I will put it up there. I will have it up there. But I wrote back and I said, yeah, it was pretty long, I guess. I'll dredge up a photo now. I only had one photo around. I mean, there's some of me when I was like teens and early 20s. In a box somewhere, and on a DVD probably, because I had all my stuff, a lot of it put in DVD a long time ago. But the only one that was close at hand was a frame picture that's been in a stack of frame pictures on a floor in one of my rooms that up against the wall, stacked against the wall, and I just pulled that one out. And it kind of brought back memories. It was kind of like, wow, this is something. So this is me from 1974. With my girlfriend. We were asked to do a project by someone that was doing a photography art show. And we were supposed to try to look Western. That was the theme. And so I came up, I think the woman brought she's a friend of Deb's, my ex, and my girlfriend, then my ex, later on, got married. And so this is the photo right here. I know, you're probably sitting here going, really, that's you? Yeah, that's me. Sans stomach. God damn. Look at that. I gotta lose weight. I mean, come on, folks. I'm not ready to die yet. Well, why do I have a stomach? And it leads to all sorts of health problems as you get older. Having that stomach is not good. There's my ex. She's a pretty girl, pretty woman. She's long gone. I mean, she lives across the country. Fine, broke up, don't care. Wish her all the best, but yeah, we went our separate ways after a long time. We were together a long time before she split up. Man, time's going by. I think we split up in the late 80s, so that was a long time. 74, 84. Yeah, we were probably together a total of over, I'd say around 15 years. It's a long time, I think. But anyway, good luck to her. But you can see the look. And yeah, oh, by the way, not to forget what we're talking about. Yeah, that's my hair. That's long hair all the way down there. Yep. And look at these ridiculous sideburns. Is that hilarious? Those went pretty not long after this. By the time I graduated college in 76, I had short hair. Mustache lasted many, many years until I got rid of it. So anyway, there you go, David. You either won or lost the bet. I'm not sure how that worked out. Okay, folks, this is very, very exciting. What I want to talk to you about today is my What I want to talk to you about today is marrying, connecting the clues in the poem to 9 Mile Hole. I believe that Jack did retrieve the chest in 9 Mile Hole. I'm not going to go a lot into retrieve or sent there or whatever. I think Forrest Fenn would make sure he actually had to find it. As to whether we now know the communication, there was a lot more than I ever thought. At least there was a lot of communication according to the emails that came out at the McCracken trial. Stoop was sending Forrest a lot of emails saying he was looking at 9 Mile Hole. I was talking to Stephen Klein about it, bringing up Stephen again from the video I just did. He thinks it might have been contrived. The emails were contrived to throw us off the scent. You know, that would mean that he thinks emails are going to be publicized later, and they kind of came up with this whole ulterior plan, etc., where they mislead us with these emails, and it was still some other place, maybe New Mexico. I don't know. I think sometimes, at least for myself, I feel like we can overthink things. I just think Jack probably thought it was at 9 Mile Hole. I was there. I mean, it was one of my solves. So even though I didn't do it right, and it was one of Forrest Fenn's favorite places. It was one of his father's favorite places. There's no doubt that Forrest Fenn thought of it very highly. I mean, why would it, you know, and then people say, well, you know, I mean, folks, they went to the head ranger of Yellowstone Park about the location. Why would they go to the head ranger of Yellowstone Park? Please don't tell me that it could have been somewhere else and they went to her for blah, blah reason. If it was in Glacier National Park, they would go to the head ranger of... If it was in New Mexico, would you go to the head ranger of Yellowstone? I think it's in Yellowstone. I think it's a 9 Mile Hole. Yellowstone is in Wyoming. So, I mean, it's just... That's where it is. I think it was found in 9 Mile Hole, Yellowstone. I don't think it's overly complicated. The ins and outs of how it was finally retrieved and whether Fenn helped Jack, because Fenn made it sound like, oh, I hardly knew the guy. And then it turns out he was constantly emailing him. And, you know, that's a whole nother issue. What I want to do today is I want to show you my theory as to how you can connect the poem to 9 Mile Hole. So let's do that. All right? I'm out of coffee, which is a bad thing. Oh. Do I want to get up and get coffee? No. Okay, so let's start. Where does the poem start? Oh, I need the poem. Here it is. First of all, I believe the poem, I believe the beginning of the poem, as I have gone alone in there and with my treasure bold, I can keep my secret where and hint of riches new and old. I think that's just a prelude. It's kind of common to a lot of poems. You kind of preface the poem before you write it or say it. I think that's all that was. He's just saying, I'm going to go in there alone with my treasure and leave it there and hint of riches. And then he's going to hint of riches new and old, which is what he did with the book. He hinted about the poem, the treasure, where it's at. So here are the hints. Begin at where warm waters halt. Okay, folks, I believe where warm waters halt is something the little girl from India could find. And I believe it is right here. So this is the Firehole River. It comes down to the Madison. It's the Madison River Valley. And then I believe we go down to Homer Brown, which is right next to 9 Mile Hole. And I think that across the river somewhere in here, and I have various things that I made showing the dry creeks and stuff. I want to say at this point, I kind of think he probably was on here somewhere on this little mountain. I think that's Mount Haynes. Is that correct? I'm not sure. But remember, he said once it might be close to the top of I think he said a mountain. That's, to me, not necessarily a mountain, but I always wondered about what he meant by that, close to the top. I mean, who really knows? It could have been, And you know, to think of it, that would give them kind of a view. But I'm speaking way ahead. Let's just start out with the most obvious. So, warm water, where warm waters halt is where the Firehole River, Firehole, little girl in India can figure that out. It hits the Madison. This turns into the Gibbons up here on one side, the Madison on the other side. You go down the Madison Valley, that's the canyon. All right? Now, here's a good map card of, here's a good way of doing this. So, to look at it this way, it's very obvious we're in a valley. You knew that anyway. Yeah. Oh no, this is Mount Haines way over here. I'm sorry. This thing I guess, doesn't even have a name. I don't know where Jack found it, okay? But all I know is where warm waters halt, in my opinion, is right here, where the Firehole and the Madison and the Gibbons join. Now, a very cool thing about this is that I was able to figure out pretty much almost not the exact mileage. Well, if you took the road, pretty good damn mileage estimate. Excuse me, just a minute. I do need something to drink. I guess I need some more coffee. Thank goodness it's half and half caffeine, or I'd be dead by now of a heart attack. So nice to have the kitties not bothering me. Kitties not bothering me. It's nice. They are such boobs. They really are. Bell's outside. Tober's. When I was a kid, I'd go to someone door all of a sudden, they're coming to get you. Siren outside. Used to be funny. It's not funny anymore. All right, so where warm waters halt. So you get down here and you would drive, I guess. You drive along here, here, to 9 Mile Hole where Jack found it. Now, right in here is Homer Brown, right next to 9 Mile Hole. But we want to know how far it is. So let's go back to our poem. So begin at where warm waters halt and take it in the canyon down, not far but too far to walk, put in below the home of Brown. So let's find out how far that is. Now, keeping in mind, when he talked about how far it is, he's talking about getting to the treasure. He's talking about getting to the treasure. So to go from the and this is another thing. Here is where warm waters halt. Okay, right here. It's right next to the Madison Museum. Remember all the references to museums and people wondered what that meant? That could have been a hint because of Madison Museum. Right? Could have been. So anyway, you go down here, and what is that? 5 miles from the Madison Museum, which is right next to where warm waters halt, in my humble opinion. It is 5 miles to 9 Mile Hole. Not too far, but too far to walk? I'd say that sums up 5 miles pretty well. A lot of times, a lot of people were thinking it was 10 miles. I think it's 5 miles. Pretty exciting. I find this exciting. So let's go on to the next point. So let's go back to come on, Eric, you can do it. Let's go back to, God, I'm an idiot. Where warm waters halt on Google Earth. So there it is. I guess I'm kind of overdoing it. Isn't that funny right here? It says the Madison, even though it turns into the Gibbons. There's warm waters halt. I think that must be the museum right there. Is that the museum right there? I don't know. It doesn't. I think that's the museum right there. And then or maybe that's it right there. It doesn't matter. It's over there somewhere. So there's warm waters halt, folks. Then you go down the Madison. Okay, cool, cool. All right, so let's take a look at where you end up. So when you keep going down there, oops, when you keep going down there, yeah, so you go down the road, and here is Homa Brown, which is Fenn Rock, and here's 9 Mile Hole. So again, we're down the river, and here's a close-up of Fenn Rock right there. I came in here when I did my Did I Find the Blaze video. I came in here, hold it a second. So I came in here, parked right here. I came around here, and I remember, yeah, going here, and I actually looked in these woods here. I also took a pee. It's funny the things you remember. I took a pee in here, and I looked around, and I saw bison footprints. And anyway, I went, and then that was where I did the video with Fenn Rock. So that's right there. Here's the Madison. Now, I want to show you another picture. It's very interesting. When you look down the river from Fenn Rock, you see down here, you know, so 9 Mile Hole is down there a ways, but you see things in the water. See this here? I think those are the rocks. And I can't help but wonder if that was a crossing point. You see, here's the rock. Here's the rock. Here's the rock back when Fenn took a picture of his father standing in front of the rock. Here you can see under my photo that I took, you can see the shadow on the water. This is a mushroom rock. It's totally eroded under the rock. All of this stuff, I don't know if it's limestone or what, but whatever it is, it's been totally eroded by the water down to the point where it's like a stem under there. And as a fisherman, I can tell you, my favorite fish I used to fish, and I don't fish anymore, but maybe I should, is largemouth bass. Now, largemouth bass is known as an ambush fish. It likes to sit there and, you know, it likes to sit kind of in the shadows or under things, and it goes, you know, it's smart. I think pretty smart. That's the way if I was a fish, I'd be an ambush fish. I'd just sit there and hide and wait for bugs. And I think that, I don't know much about trout, but I almost wonder if they literally in the summer would be under that rock in the shade. See, both of them are showing their shade under there. And I wonder if they literally thought of that as the Homa Brown, like there was maybe always one trout that was laying under that rock. I don't know. It's just funny. But somebody told me that when I was doing my video, and I should put their name in. I'll try to look it up and put a title with their name in. If I don't, forgive me, but I'll try to find the comment from whoever it was. And they said, Eric, that, you know, I had a number of comments from people when I did my video about Fenn Rock, what now people call Fenn Rock. I thought it was a blaze, but I was wrong. One guy said, I think I had 3 or 4 comments along the way. I've had just as many comments, though, about people in Vermilion Creek. When I was in Vermilion Creek telling me it was there, and this one guy kept saying, you just missed it. You went past the marker. I never have figured out what he was talking about. If he's watching this, he'll probably write me another email or comment. What was my point? My point was that people said I was very close. A number of people. And these people, all of them seemed extremely sure of themselves. I don't know if it was Jack Stoof. I don't know if it was people in on the find. But this one guy was like, you were a 9-iron away, referring to golf, you know, a 9-iron swing. A 9-iron swing for me is maybe 90 yards. I don't know what it is. I don't forget. I haven't played golf in a long time either. But, you know, across the river with a 9-iron, yeah, you can go across the river with a 9-iron. So another guy just said, God, one guy was making fun of me. Actually, a couple of people made fun. Maybe I got more than a few comments about this. People saying I was so close. Yeah, a couple of people kind of said, they wrote me and they were like, well, how's it feel to miss it? How's it feel to come so close? And you know, folks, the way my brain is wired, and thank God for me because I've done such incredibly stupid things in my life, a lot of things that I weren't that smart in my life, I don't think about them. I don't know if it's a block. I don't even think it's a blocking mechanism. I just think I'm kind of, I don't want to say dumb. I mean, things that aren't good for me in my past, I never think about them. I never do. I don't dwell on them. I don't get all moody about them. I just go, well, that was stupid, or boy, you screwed up, and I move on. It's the same with missing this treasure. If it was found at 9 Mile Hole and I'm looking right down the damn, if you look right down the river, you're basically looking down to 9 Mile Hole, right, I guess right around the bend or right at the bend. Yeah, I don't know. That island down there? I don't know if we can see it from here, but down the river. I don't care. I missed it. I missed it. It's like people in your life you could have hooked up with, or friendships, that whatever. I don't care. If things went bad or things didn't work out or I missed the damn treasure, I don't care. I don't know. It's the way I'm wired. I don't know what it is. I think it's good for my mental health. It really. And believe me, I've needed help with my mental health. So one of the things I don't do is brood on missed opportunities. That's what I'm trying to say. Otherwise, I'd look back at my entire life and brood. Not even kidding. So anyway, I don't care that I missed it. It's down there somewhere. All right, I think. And I think this is, as someone pointed out, they said this is Homer Brown, not the Blaze. And I believe them. I'm going to try to remember to put their name up. Okay, so now let's go down to, let's go back to this. So we are right here. And we're looking, this is what we are looking at right here. Okay, so, actually what we are looking at is probably, we saw this stuff, because there were rocks here, and there's wood, and then down here further, there's rocks and wood. Now, if you see 9 Mile Hole, you realize there is an island there, but quite frankly, there's an island right there. There's an island right next to all this, see, there's Fenn Rock right there. So right down here, there are a lot of rocks, and then there's a driftwood and stuff. So could this be the island that he referred to in his infamous dream where he dreamt about being on an island? Or could this be the island? Could be either, right? All right. I know some of you are unhappy that I'm doing this because it's about 9 Mile Hole and you don't believe 9 Mile Hole's it. I don't care. What can I tell you? I think it's over. It's over. Now, the legal consequences of all this are not over. Ooh, I forgot to mention this. I'm going to mention this. Oh, did I mention that? I mentioned that in the Steve Klein one. Yeah. The Steve Klein one where they said Yellowstone. He wrote Yellowstone and they said they're still deliberating. So they can't talk about Yellowstone. They can't talk about the treasure location. Yellowstone. Yellowstone can't talk about the treasure location that some think isn't in Yellowstone. They can't talk about it because they're still in legal deliberations. With what? What could you be deliberating about if it's not in Yellowstone? Oh, the head chief ranger of Yellowstone, it's not Sarah Davis anymore, it's someone else. They're talking about some park in New Mexico. I don't think so. So they're still deliberating in Yellowstone, the location and all that. So anyway, here we have this and this. Now I thought this was kind of cute. Here's my little rendition of crossing over. See, wasn't this cute? See little footprints? I think here's Fenn Rock. Here's 9 Mile Hole. And I think if you look right here, this is where I would cross over. I would cross over here. Now you see how we have these rocks? Because see, I would use the rocks here to cross over. And this is going to seem a little far out. And then I would go here. Now, do you not see kind of a dried up creek all over the place? I see dried up creeks all over. This could be a dried up creek. This could be a dried up creek. This could be a dried up creek. I mean, there are lots of areas here that could, dried up creeks, all of this area. Now, as far as this goes here, as far as passing through this area with these rocks and stuff, remember it says, begin at where we're, okay, from there it's no place for the meek. Okay, so it says, begin at where warm waters halt, take it in the canyon down, not far, but too far to walk. We went through all that. Put in below the home of Brown. So the home Brown's over there on the right. One second here, folks. Yeah. 1 second. Okay, so Home of Brown is on the right. So he says from there, from Home of Brown, he says, from there, it's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. You'll need no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. I think he's referring to going across the river. And I think he could be referring to this area, heavy loads, meaning rocks. Now let's remember something. Let's remember something. Remember this photo? I've always been struck by this picture in whatever it was, Thrill the Chase, I guess. And not Too Far to Walk. Thrill the Chase, Too Far to Walk, I forget. Doesn't matter. I've always been struck by that, with that concept that he's trying to tell you to follow something in a line. Hence the kids with the ropes, right? So I wonder if it isn't this, if it isn't these rocks. And also another thing to remember is that we had Holden Caulfield in Catcher in the Rye, this big book, which is a big part of the treasure chase, because Fenn was such a big Holden Caulfield. I mean, he identified with Holden Caulfield. Holden Caulfield, or maybe he identified with Salinger? No, I think he identified with Holden Caulfield. You know, Holden Caulfield was a very antisocial person. Basically, the story is about an antisocial youth, and I think it had a lot of ramifications and echoed with our society greatly, because our society has turned into such an antisocial society. We have a lot of antisocial people in it, and a lot of people with pathologies. Hence these horrible shootings that go on more and more and more. And anyway, that's well, I'm not going to get off on that subject. So that's a tough one for me. So Holden Caulfield, the protagonist, you know, he's antisocial and he's having a hard time adapting to growing up. And one of the themes in that story is that he has a problem crossing the road. So here we have a Cliff Notes summary of the problem. And if you ever read Catcher in the Rye, Holden Caulfield will get to a road, I mean a street, because he's in the city. He'll get to a street and he'll have a problem crossing the street. There's all this symbology that people have attributed to it, that the street symbolizes him growing up. Crossing from one side of the street to the other side of the street is leaving your youth behind, your childhood behind, and graduating to adulthood with all the dark ramifications that has. Your eyes are kind of open to the horrendous nature of life, the fall, if you will, possibly in the Bible. I've always wondered if the fall wasn't talking about basically reaching adulthood and kind of having to put away your childish toys and things. And so kind of losing your innocence is what I'm trying to say. So Holden Caulfield, it says here, while crossing the street, and this happened more than once in that book, while crossing the street, he would say silent prayers to his dead younger brother, asking to make it to the other side safely. Allie, don't let me disappear. Please, Allie. And then when he'd reach the other side of the street without disappearing, I'd thank him. And again, it makes me wonder if crossing the street and this weren't the same thing, and it refers to the possibility that you're going to be crossing an area where you have to go kind of singular fashion or across an area where you could disappear, drown, go under the water. I mean, after all, what are you scared of? For there it's no place for the meek, the end is ever drawing nigh. I mean, no place for the meek. A lot of people have drawn a lot of inferences about that. I just wonder if it isn't. Hi, Tober. What's up, buddy? What's up? Well, you just blinking at me? You just get up? You got a rough life, buddy. Sleep, eat, go outside, come in, look for more food, take another nap, go outside. That's his routine till evening, and then it doesn't really change till he comes in about 8 or 9, and then I close the door and he has to go, he watches TV a little bit and then he goes to bed. It's a rough life. Kind of similar to mine. So anyway, I just think that's kind of interesting. I've also wondered what that meant with the kids going across the street. So what does that mean as far as the blaze? Well, folks, I obviously don't know where the blaze is, so I'm going to just say the blaze is somewhere here across from Homer Brown and 9 Mile Hole. I think he had to cross the river. I thought about maybe him being on this island, and I thought, nah, it's not really woodsy. It's not really woods. Where is it woodsy? It's actually woodsy here on this mount, which I guess is unnamed. Mount Haynes is to the left. Now that whole Mount Haynes area is quite, the whole Mount Haynes area is quite, let's see if I've got a good picture of it. No, I don't. Well, the whole Mount Haynes area, yeah. This area over here is wooded. But anyway, from remembering the map, Mount Haynes has trees. To look back at the entire thing, yeah, see, we have trees. I guess these are trees, right? Yeah. So there are a lot of areas here that could be trees. I don't know, folks. I just do not know where it's at. I just think the blaze is in here somewhere. Yeah. It's in the woods. From there, it's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease, but tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. You know, looking at this now, it all to me seems so obvious. And of course, Fenn said that. He said, you're going to find it. It's going to seem very obvious when you figure it out. Thank you, Tober, for making me move the mouse, my drink. You make things so easy, buddy. All right. So, a lot of places in there, and I can understand why Jack had to go in and out 25 times. My perspective on Jack has changed a lot. At the first, I was, of course, without getting into the politics of what he did when he was younger with horrible stuff, I won't even repeat. At this point, you know, the way he pursued this was, he said he just figured out where Forrest Fenn wanted to die, not so much the poem. And of course, I've made a point of figuring out the poem versus where the treasure chest was, linking it to the clues in the poem. But I could see where he would figure it out that way, because 9 Mile Hole, I think we all would agree, especially with that overlay, the 2 pages with all the pictures and, you know, the picture of Fenn's father and everything. I think, you know, he revered his father a lot, and he and his father would fish here. I mean, I think for him it was just a magical time of life. I don't think it's very complicated. Like Fenn said, whenever you figure it out, it's going to be pretty simple. You're going to be like, oh, I wish I'd thought of that, or oh, why didn't I think of that? I mean, I kind of thought of it, but I didn't really think about it. Not this way, because my blaze was all off. And then I was off into the Three Forks region in Montana, not far from here, but way too far to walk. And, God, I had a story built up about that would blow your friggin' mind. It was so intricate down to the clues that, well, see, too intricate, quite frankly. And then I had someone that wrote me after one of my videos. He goes, Eric, that region you're in there doesn't fall into the elevations that Fenn gave us. I'm like, what? And I had already been out there. I was going to go back a second time after I did my video on the blaze. I was going to go back to Three Forks, and this guy had to write me and say, Eric. Oh, and isn't it interesting? God, he moved again. Isn't it interesting? Look at the dry creeks now here. Look at that. Boy, look at that. I mean, those are like, ooh, look at this. And then this, this looks like the side of a cutoff area, but you can see lots of potential, potential creeks. So good for Jack. That's what I'm trying to say. I've never really congratulated the guy. Good for him. I think he had to find it, and I think he was on the right path. If Fenn did say to him at some point, somehow, maybe Jack felt like when Fenn wrote back and said, don't dig there. I think Jack wrote something to the extent of, okay, if I find it, if I find it at 9 Mile Hole, can I dig it up? And Fenn wrote back, do not dig in a park. Do not dig in a national park, or words to that effect. To quote Hutchinson, or words to that effect. Cassidy Hutchinson, what an ass. So, good luck, or rather, congratulations to Jack. I just think, or good luck. I don't know how much this thing... like Fenn said, it's going to open a Pandora's box when it's found. I just wonder... And the reason I say the chase is over for the location, I'm completely convinced it is... Oh, no. The chase is over. I'm completely convinced it's been found by Jack. To the extent he was helped or nudged along, I don't know. When he wrote and asked Fenn about digging it up, and Fenn wrote back and said, do not dig there, or do not dig in a park, Jack probably thought that was confirmation that he's on the right path. I could see why he would think that. So, I don't know. So I think that part of it's over, that it's been found, that it was found at 9 Mile Hole. And I think that legally it's not over. And I think we'll find out a little more about the background story around the solve and Jack retrieving it. But right now, if it's true that the thing with Yellowstone is still being in deliberations and stuff, remember what Zoe said after the McCracken trial? She said that the estate, settling the Fenn estate, is still hung up because of the legal cases. And the McCracken thing should have been the end. So for Steve to write them Yellowstone just the last few days of June, and they're still saying they're still in deliberations, that could just be them not wanting to deal with it. They could have basically blown them off and not told the truth. Or it could be true that part of it, and it may not be a legal deliberation, it may just be a deliberation as to what they're going to do about the location. Personally, I can understand. A couple of people have said, if for instance it was here, this is a great way to put it. If for instance it was here, the location, and you wanted to, because let's face it, Yellowstone is dedicated to attractions. That's what drives its publicity. That's what drives its money. People come and they spend money there. And personally, I think they need to start cutting back on the amount of people in there. Not just talking about the people that have been gored by bisons and stuff, these stupid asses that get too close and break the rules or fall into the scalding hot waters and the geysers. God, all these idiot people. If you've been to Yellowstone, folks, it is not even fun. It's fun to get out in some locations. I got out all along this road. I got out around all up and down here, and of course I was here, and it wasn't too bad. But when you get up around the geysers and stuff, oh my God, the crowds, it's like Disneyland. You got to go up to see the geysers, and you have to walk in these lines around these big boardwalks that go around the geysers and stuff. crowds, and then if you try to, God forbid, you try to go to, I guess, the place where you can get snacks or whatever. It's like some, it's some sort of thing there for like a gift shop and all that. I didn't even get out of my car. I drove in and I'm just driving around looking for a parking space, and I finally went, do you really want to be here in this crap? This huge crowd's just to, what? Hey, honey. No. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave the lizard alone. Tober, God damn it. Leave that little cat. Leave him alone. I'm not shitting you, Tober. Do not. God, I hate this. I hate this so much. Leave the lizards. Give me the damn lizard. No. Oh, fuck. God, I hate this shit. You do not know how much I hate this. Get the fuck out of here, Tober. God, leave the poor little damn thing alone. God, here I am in the animal rescue, and you guys are the worst killers on God's green earth. Oh, come here, baby. You dumb lizard. Tober. I swear to God. You know what? Oh, my God. Quit fucking with the lizard. God, the poor lizard now is underneath all of my wires behind my TV set. God. You guys drive me nuts, you know what? I should not let you go out. Oh my God, there's another dead one behind the TV set. Oh my God, are you kidding me? There are 2 dead lizards behind the TV set? Oh, that other one's just dust. Okay, well there's 1 dead one. Well, you guys have really been having a time, haven't you? Folks, sorry. There's his tail. See his tail? See it moving? Yep, that's the tail of the lizard that I just rescued. It's weird, isn't it? Their tails just go on and on. There's a leaf Tober brought in with the lizard. Thank you. He probably brought that in his mouth. He's such an idiot. Look at that thing. It's like a snake. All right, enough of that. So, okay, I have the lizard. I finally realized I can start using a fish net to catch them. It just made it, after all these years, I just figured out how to catch the lizards easier. So we're going to catch them, and we're going to let them go. Here in the jungle that is South Carolina in the summer. It is like a jungle. Okay, and I've learned to take them all the way down. I live on one end of a row of 5 units. So I'm going to take them all the way down to the other end and let him go, because if not, he might be caught a second time by either Tober or Belle. Yeah, so here we are. Oh. Ooh. All right, so we're here. Yeah, so let's go here. We're gonna let him go right here. All right, guy. Yeah. How much did he chew you up? You look like you're in pretty good shape. You're not happy, but oh my goodness. You're a big boy. Yes, you are a big boy, aren't you? He's a big old guy. Look at the colors on him. He's all splotchy because of almost being eaten. I guess he got kind of stressed out, didn't you, honey? Look, his feet are white. Isn't that weird? His feet are white. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. Yeah, good guy. Live and prosper and multiply, or whatever it is. All right, I'm heading back. Sorry about that, folks. Needless to say, not planned. Poor big lizard. That tail is funky. It was after I dumped the lizard down the row. He's a big boy, but the tail was still barely. When I picked it up, it still had a little wiggle in it. It's pretty cool. So I just threw him in the bush. Probably Bill. Tober ate a tail once. So I watched him eat it. I was like, and you kiss me sometimes? You get up and want to nuzzle? Well, it's not like dogs that poop. And hey, I love dogs, but cats are not, they're not really into the poop shit. Kind of a little tiny bit, you know, they'll smell each other's asses and stuff. Who doesn't? But not like dogs. I don't, you know, get into it and the rolling in it and like, hey, shit party, you know? Dogs are kind of crazy with that shit thing. I don't get it. Anyway, Tober's over there now laying around like he's king of fucking England because he caught another lizard. God, how many lizards have they caught this year? I don't know. Too many. Anyway, start. So I'm doing that. That's my cool way of trying to coordinate between the why does it even matter? Yeah, it does matter. I have to coordinate between my two videos. Okay, so what more can I say? We have, let's see if I have anything here I haven't brought up. We already went over the client emails. So what else do I have here? Nothing. That's pretty much it. So we'll just go back to where it just was. So anyway, folks, I think that's it. I think this is it. I think that's it. It's up here, 5 miles down the road. Not far, but too far to walk. And I'm just very excited. I know I'm going to get pushback, and some people are going to say this is not it. I don't really care. This is my solution to marry the poem clues to the Jack Stoops, where he kept telling Fenn he thought it was. And that's it. I have nothing more to say on the matter. Everybody have a nice day. Oh, this is okay. So this is starting to get exciting. So, you know, I'm still going to move out to near Charleston, and I'm working on it. See, what happened was with this big financial decline that's happened, I don't know about people out there with the way they do their money and stuff, but a lot of mine's wrapped up in stocks. So without getting too much in the weeds, my stocks took a huge hit. And my stocks they're good, and they're good savings, I guess you could say, or kind of a small venues for income. Not really. Kind of. No, not really. A little bit of dividends in there, but the point I'm trying to make is I was going to use a little bit of that stock just to buy lease a house in the area out near where I want to treasure hunt on the beaches out there, and I want to rent a place for 12 months while I sold my condo here and bought a new house. Because to try to sell a house here on paper, I still have the house, and if I try to get a mortgage, then that's a bit essentially, as they explained to me, since you haven't sold your condo and you want a mortgage for a second house, as far as the bank's concerned, you're buying a second house, even though we know you're going to get rid of your condo and that money's going to go back into paying off the mortgage. So I went, oh yeah, I guess technically I am buying a second house. And they're like, quite frankly, don't take it personally, but you can't really afford to buy a second house. I'm like, yeah, you're right, even though my condo is paid off. Yeah, my condo is paid off, and I have no bills except for utility bills, but they were still like, nope, on paper, we don't like it. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So then I had to brainstorm, Eric, you're just going to rent a place for 12 months, because I think the smallest lease I could find was 12 months, and get yourself a nice little house out there near Charleston, and rent it, and just pay for a month's rent up, 12 months, pay for a year's rent up front, get that out of the way, and you just can live there, and you can sell your condo, and then you can buy a new house, because then you'll be buying just one house, and you'll already sold your house and have that money in your bank account. And so I was like, okay, that's really smart. So I'm going to rent a place. But the point was, I was just going to take a chunk out of my stocks and just pay off that year, and not have to worry about it. And then when it dumped because of our horrible president that doesn't know how to run a country, yep, I'm doing it again, folks. I can see those cars driving by outside. You conservative bastard. I don't care. Yeah, so now my stocks are starting to go up again. And by the midterms, it'll turn around hugely. And then I'll be able to pop some out and just, I mean, I could now, but there's just something like when it's smaller amount, you're kind of like, it feels, I don't know. I'm very big on, I'm not good at spending money. And it's just like, I would like it to be a much smaller chunk of my stocks than, even though it's doable, there's just something about, I've seen it much higher and I want to do it when it's much higher. And then I'll feel not impacted much at all to pay for a year's rent up front. And so that's what I'm waiting on. Oh, but before I go, so that's coming, and we're going to go treasure hunting out there. And you know, my sister keeps going, you keep talking about going out there. Well, why don't you ever go out there? I never go out there because it's a goddamn 2-hour drive both ways. It's a 4-hour drive, and it's like I might as well stay over. And I want to live somewhere where it's a half an hour drive and I can go there and come back in the afternoon from my house. I mean, I'd be at the beach all the time if I lived close to the ocean. Well, not all the time. I used to be a huge beach person, but I hardly ever got to the beach. But when I get there, you know, it's a funny thing. After about a day, I go, this is boring. The beach is kind of boring for me. I love going in the water, but then I'm like, okay, now what? And it's like, well, let's go find a really good seafood restaurant. And then I'm almost done for the vacation after 1 or 2 days in the waves. But it is very healthy for you. The waves, I mean, what a way to lose weight. You go out there and just churn in those waves. You just burn off that weight. But the other thing I was going to say is, so metal detecting before I go. I know this is turned into a really long video. So, yeah, Toby, you're back there looking for another. Yeah, and I saw that little tiny lizard back there dead. I got to go pick him up. He's almost mummified. You know how many lizards I probably picked up this summer, and it's only beginning of July? I think I've picked up at least 6 or 7. Yeah, I come in all the time with them. They never hurt them. There was only one that came in bloody, and that was because Belle had to butt the door. It was a little closed, a little too much, so I heard her kind of butt her head to open the door, and she's a little cat. And I think one of her fangs went into it when she butted her head, kind of closed her jaw a little bit. But this guy today, and most of them, 90% of them, they're alive and kicking. There's no blood or anything. I don't know how they do it. They're very soft jaws, except for the other thing is if they get in here and don't get out and I don't catch them, then they die of dehydration, like I'm sure happened to that guy. He looks totally fine. He's just dead and upside down. So last thing I want to say is metal detecting. So metal detecting, I'm starting to get into it this week, starting this week. I had my Equinox 800 for a year. Taken it out 2 times, didn't really do anything with it because I couldn't really figure it out or want to take the time. Today I'm going to watch videos for the next day or 2. I'm going to do it inside as if I'm outside so I can just watch the guy showing me, you know, he's outside with his Equinox 800 just showing me how to do it and how to, you know, eliminate the ground buzz and all that crap you have to deal with and just do it. And it occurred to me, Eric, just do it inside. Just pretend like you're outside and watch the damn video. I'm so stupid. Because I go, I'm going to go outside. What do I do? Take my laptop? What do I do? Write down the instructions? I know some people are going, Eric, you really is dumb. Yes. So I'm going to do it today as if I'm outside. And so what if I don't get the proper results? At least I'll go through the motions. You know what I mean? Get to the point, Eric. What's the end? The end is that I signed up for. I just paid $200. I've never done this before. $200 to go spend 3 days in a small town here in South Carolina. You see, the big problem with metal detecting is finding a place you can legally metal detect. A lot of the places you want to go are private or they're off limits for some reason, even if they're public. You know, some places don't like you to metal detect, like parks and stuff. Anyway, so what you really want to do is you want to join a club. So I joined a club. I won't mention it right now, but they have a thing. So for 3 days, you pay a couple $100, which I sent the check yesterday, old school snail mail. Although, yes, I usually do everything online. For this one, just for whatever reason, I just want to send a check. I don't know why. I guess you give my checking book a use. And so it's 3 days in this small town, and they got 2,500 acres, this club, 2,500 acres, and it's got old You know, they guarantee there's old stuff. There was an old house there from the 18 or 1700s or this and that. I mean, South Carolina, all the southern eastern coast, all the northern, all the coast, all the eastern coast has a lot of very, very old stuff because obviously it was colonized early. Although out in California, of course, you have a lot of Spanish colonization. Remembering that the Spanish colonized as much of the world as the English did. I don't know why the English always get the bad rap when I sit there going, yeah, but what about all the Spanish colonization? It's like AOC just doesn't want to think about that or something. People are so stupid. So anyway, that's going to be cool because I'm going to video that. It's going to be a trip, and I'm going to take it and obviously stay overnight a couple nights at a local motel and just go out every day with these treasure hunters, these veteran metal detector people who I'll have a little bit of the training under my belt at that point. I sound like Biden. Yes, Mr. President. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for the guy to go out on... I know, I feel the bullets coming through my windows any minute now. I'm waiting for the time that Biden goes out on stage in front of the world and wets himself. And then, when we see that stain growing in his pants, right there in front of the world, and Jill has to come over and, you know, tie a sweater around his waist to hide it, or like you're in school for whatever reason, like you tear your pants or tie something around it. What am I talking about? Anyway, I'm going to do a video of the 3-day metal detection hunt and show you what it's like, if they'll let me. And if they don't let me, I guess it'll be me metal detecting with all these people. You see blurry faces. You know, these little circles walking around with blurry faces and bodies. Hi, how you doing, Mac? Fine. Blurred face. I don't know. Hopefully it'll say I can video it and everything will be cool. But I'll show you how it works. All right, folks, that's all I got to say. I'm getting giddy. I don't know why. Too much coffee. 50% caffeine-free coffee. Yeah, it's that other 50%. I mean, if you drink enough 32-ounce cups of iced coffee, it don't matter how much caffeine you got in. You're going to get a buzz on. All right, everybody, have fun. It's been real. What's the old saying? It's been real, it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. Of course it has. It's been real fun. Everyone, I'll see you later. Bye. The Blaze. The Blaze is in there somewhere.